Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Psychic Medium Josh Simmons coming to you with this week's Monday message. Really enjoy doing these, and even though I may get a limited response back on the social medias and the YouTube and all that, I do have people randomly tell me that they benefit from the messages that I bring forth. So, thank you for that. If you're watching, you don't need to thank me, right? Just know that I do this as I'm called to. This week's message for all of us, it's going to be a little tough. And I don't bullshit people, right? Uh, Over the past couple of weeks, I have been handed circumstances and people's situations that are incredibly difficult to deal with. And they all seem to center around one thing. And this may not apply to you, not on the forefront of it. You might not think it applies to you, but it does apply to you. And this is it. Many of you watching this know me. Many of you have seen me for readings. Many of you know my story. Many of you have met me, and prior to me getting into this stuff. But in no way would I ever consider myself to be a woo-woo person, right? And I actually take issue with a lot of New Age stuff. I take issue with a lot of New Age stuff because it seems to be that's a different story for another day. But I'm just a dude who wears a hoodie. I don't need a costume. I don't need to be performative or demonstrative in the stuff that I do here. I'm very committed to serving spirit and doing my damnedest to lend healing to people. Over the past couple of weeks, these circumstances that have popped up, they're very tough. And the first instance is a story that I've got to share with you because it hurts me. And as much resilience that I have doing this stuff, and I am built for this stuff. As much resilience as I have for doing this, there are some circumstances that just hit me in the heart. And I'm not dragging you into this with me to in a way that like misery loves company. I'm dragging you into this because there's a point to what I'm about to share with you. So thank you for bearing with me. I had a reading with a person. They're relatively young. And it was a great reading. They were getting all sorts of information from their spirits, guidance, all of that. And I don't hide the fact that I'm gay. I don't advertise it. I don't hide it. At the end of this reading, this person had a question for me, and they said, do you think that any of your spirits have abandoned you because of your sexuality? This person's young, right? And could very well be in the closet. And I was kind of getting that a little bit during this, right? And I kind of have a blind spot when it comes to people's sexuality because I was in the closet for a really long time and then I came out. And if I had sat with somebody at like 20, 25 years old and somebody had said, I think you're gay, and I think you're hiding it, I would have probably run from that, right? It probably wouldn't have been healthy. So I don't talk about people's sexuality with them. And again, that might be a blind spot to me because of my own experience. But I don't talk to people about their sexuality, whether they're gay, straight, in the closet, not in the closet. I don't. I can only hope that the love that I have for my husband and I in our life together shines as an example for them. That's all I can hope, right? Just in the way that I don't want to be performative or demonstrative about the stuff that I do here. I don't see any reason to be performative or demonstrative about my sexuality. I'm not particularly proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not proud of it. It was something that I was born with. not anything that I chose to be or not be. But to me, being proud of my sexuality is like being proud of being tall. I don't take part in any sort of pride events, those sorts of things that I just don't feel called to, because again, I see my sexuality as an attribute very similar to my height. So for me to take part in a pride parade would be the same thing as me taking part in a tall person's parade, which was just never going to happen. So again, that's my stuff, right? My journey. But when this young person came to me and said, "Do you think that your spirits have abandoned you because of your sexuality?" Boy, it hurt me. Not because I think my spirits have abandoned me. Absolutely not. I think my spirits have been with me and have helped me come out of the closet and build this life that I have with my husband. But it hurt me that they could think that for a moment, right? And I'm sure they think that for several reasons. A lot of what society has taught us, a lot of what religion has taught us, right? Myself, ever since I knew, at like 3 or 4 years old, that I liked boys, I also knew that I couldn't bring it to the world. I knew that I had to hide it, and I knew that the world was telling me that I was wrong, and I was broken, and I was an abomination. And I still have huge issues over systems that perpetuate that kind of oppression. And it hurt me in a way that I haven't been hurt in a long time, to feel this person say, "Do you think your spirits have abandoned you?" No. And I said that, no, not at all. And I think they've helped me. I think they've given me the strength for a lot of reasons, right? When we pass away, when we move to the world of spirit, we are no longer human. We retain some of our humanity, but we're no longer human. I often refer to what I call the 4 pillars of a life well lived. The 4 pillars of a life well lived are love, joy, peace, togetherness. Those pillars, those principles, are what we hold on to when we pass away. And if we love people in this world, that's what we want for people when we move into the next world. Those 4 principles: love, joy, peace, togetherness. Now, peace, physical peace, right? No ailments, no sicknesses, emotional peace, spiritual peace, mental peace, all of those things, right? Joy, pleasure, like fun, games, those types of things. Love is love, and togetherness is togetherness. And I had to remind this person that the 4 pillars are what our spirits want for us. So even though I might have ancestors or beloved dead in the world of spirit that couldn't relate to my sexuality, and they might not even understand it, they're going to see from where they're at that it does bring me love, joy, peace, togetherness. Because there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. Well, not when it comes to my sexuality, right? I'm not lesser than, I'm not better than, I'm just me. Being tall is not better than, lesser than, I'm just me. But again, it hurt me deeply to feel this person think something of that, right? So I had to explain to them as best I can that that's what our spirits want for us. And I've given thousands of readings, I've had interactions with thousands of spirits, and that is the one principle over and over and over and over and over again that they want for us. This world that we live in is so broken and so imbalanced and full of so much pain and suffering. I'm not surprised that I'm pulled into this position, because I'm acting as an agent, if you will, of those principles that every single one of us, gay, straight, tall, short, any of us, we all deserve those 4 pillars. We deserve love, joy, peace, togetherness. Another experience that I had shortly after that is I was talking to another person, And we were talking about ancestors, right? Ancestor work. And this person said to me, it's hard for me to connect with my ancestors and my beloved dead because I'm gay. And I said, okay. This person said, well, my father has passed, told me that being gay was in the same realm, same wavelength as being a murderer. Talk about pain. I'm very blessed in the way that my loved ones have accepted me and my husband, my family. It wasn't easy when I came out to my folks, my family. But I'll never forget that my 80-year-old grandmother, who totally from the North Country, totally rural, northern New England, not highly educated in any way. It wasn't like she missed a beat. When that happened, it was like nothing changed. And she loved my husband like he was a grandson of her own. And I can only wish that for people that are in my position. So for me to feel this person and their connection to their beloved dead, or their dead, right? The ancestors, the spirits around them. And for them to have that legacy, for them to be told that by their family, blows me away. It's not something that I've really ever experienced. I can't imagine the pain, the turmoil that must bring to a person. Because if you're gay or not, if you're straight or not, baby, you were born this way. Just like Lady Gaga says, you were born this way. No matter your sexuality, no matter your proclivities, no matter what makes you you, as long as you're not bringing pain or imbalance to the lives of others, you cultivate love, you cultivate joy, you cultivate peace and togetherness. Shortly after I talked to that person about their father calling them a murderer, right? Blows my mind. I had another experience. And this is why this is my message this Monday. Because these experiences piled on top of me one after another, after another, after another, and I don't take anything for granted. I don't believe in coincidences, I believe in synchronicities, and there's a reason why I have to talk about this stuff. The next one was an awful experience. This person that I was communicating with, talking to, having a session with, they came out later in life after having kids, and they're a figure in their community, a well-known figure, and they come from a very fundamentalist family. And yet still, for all of that, they came out. This fundamentalist family believes that this person's going to hell because of the way they were born, because of the way they were born into this world and the way they want to express their love. Their family believes that they're going to hell and will not accept this person's partner. So this person, walking a double life, right? They have a partner, but the partner can't see their family. They have the family wants nothing to do with the partner. Absolutely terrible situation. And again, I'm very grateful that I don't have a situation like that, and I can't imagine the horror and the pain and the turmoil that that person must go through. And again, makes me have a really hard time with fundamentalists, conservative religion, all of that stuff where, and I talked about that with this person. I was like, okay, so they're cherry picking a line or two out of the Bible about this, right? Homosexual relations, but they're probably eating shrimp. They're probably wearing mixed fabrics, right? They're just cherry picking the bit out of the Bible that perpetuates or feeds into their fear, right? Or their beliefs, which is one of the worst things that can happen. And I'm not a Christian, I'm not a Catholic. I am slightly familiar with the teachings of Christ, and I know that Christ never talked about gay people. Christ talked about love. And weirdly, Christ talked, I think, about those 4 pillars: love, joy, peace, togetherness, right? Those are principles that go beyond religion or spirituality, right? You don't have to be a Christian to believe in love, joy, peace, togetherness. You don't have to, right? And how many Christians are out there, Muslims, Buddhists even, right? There's lots of major world religions that preach love and acceptance, and yet that could be the furthest thing from the truth for them. That's not everybody. I've met some really wonderful Christians that do actually believe in the teachings of Christ and understand that my husband and I are no different, right? As long as we're not causing pain and imbalance in the lives of other people, we're no different than anybody else. That's really interesting to me because it seems like spirit divides people into groups. And as far as I can tell, there are 3 groups of people that spirit will put you into, right? The first group, the worst one, is the people in this world that intentionally cause pain and imbalance in the lives of others. The second is the opposite of that, right? The people that set out to intentionally cause peace and joy, healing in the lives of others. The third set of people are kind of in the middle. They're not trying to cause pain and imbalance, and I guess this could apply to everybody. They're not trying to cause pain and imbalance, and yet, regardless of their best intentions, some of the things that they do cause pain and imbalance in the lives of others. Gay, straight, tall, short, doesn't matter. You deserve love, joy, peace, togetherness. And you should do your best, gay, straight, tall, short, to cultivate that in your life. Here's the other part of my message. First, if you're gay, bisexual, what have you, if you sit outside of the convention, if you sit outside of the norm, and you walk this path, you are courageous. You need to know that. I'm not fluffing, my own skirt, blowing hot air at my own skirt when I say this. If you are walking this path, it's hard. Even in the best circumstances, it's difficult because you live in a world that has programmed you to think that you're wrong, or you're broken, or you're gross, or you're an abomination, and you're none of those things. So first, if you find yourself walking this path, give yourself a pat on the back and be proud of the truth that you're living. Second, if you're somebody that finds himself homophobic or scared, I don't really think that you'd make it to this point in the video if you were one of them. But if you were, understand that those reactions, those things inside of you, come from a place of fear that's been instilled in you by society, the patriarchy, religion, what have you. And I'd ask that you do your best with the golden rule, right? Because if you were gay, if you found yourself sitting outside of the convention, wouldn't you want people to love you and accept you as you were? Right? Isn't that the tenet of Christianity, right? The golden rule, treat others as you would want to be treated. Accepted and loved. Isn't that something that we all deserve? If you are what people would consider an ally, right? If you are somebody who finds himself to be straight and living in the conventional norm world, right? And yet you support gay people, homosexual people, bisexual people, transsexual people. If you support them, thank you. God damn it, thank you. The world needs more of you. And yeah, the world is shifting. My husband and I, we can have our metaphysical shop in northern New England, people knowing what we do, and we don't have to worry about being lynched, knock on wood. thank you. If you're an ally, thank you. I can't express that enough, because the more you stand up and the more you sit in a place of support and understanding, the more these people will understand that they're loved. You know, when I say these people, I mean the people that I've mentioned. This young person who asked me, am I afraid of my spirits have abandoned me? That broke my heart. It broke my heart. If you are an ally, if you are somebody that has gay people in your family, in your circle of friends, I want you to do me a favor, right? And this is kind of the point of the whole thing. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to find them, and in a way that's comfortable, in a way that's not derogatory or insulting. And sometimes that's a hard line to cross. I'd like you to extend your love to them, and I'd like you to extend your pride to them. Pride that they walk a path of truth. And let them know how courageous they are. Hell, send them this video. If you don't want to say it, just say, hey, watch this video. I think you'll benefit from it. Let them know how courageous they are, because it never hurts to hear that. I don't particularly think of myself as a courageous person. Yeah, I look back on what I went through coming out of the closet and living my truth. It's a courageous thing. It's a courageous act. I look at my husband, who came out far earlier than me, in a very religious household, and the amount of courage, the amount of respect that I have for him, I couldn't quantify it. I couldn't quantify it. So what I'm asking for you to do this week, always love yourself. Gay, straight, tall, short, doesn't matter. Love yourself. You're not broken, you're not an abomination. Gay, straight, tall, short, white, black, it doesn't matter. And I want you to do your best to cultivate those 4 principles of love, joy, peace, togetherness. Thing is, right, I know I talk about it a lot, working with the dead, boy, do they know regret. You know how many ancestors we have, all of us have, that were gay and they couldn't come out of the closet for fear of being killed or ostracized, suffered their entire life? If you support, you're honoring those ancestors. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So please cultivate those principles for yourself. Encourage the people around you to cultivate those 4 pillars for themselves. And if you know somebody that's gay, if you know somebody that walks outside of the norm, perhaps transgender, what have you, show them your support and love as best you can. They need it. They need it. Just as you need it, they need it. So, heavy goddamn message, I know. But again, these things happen to me, and I feel compelled to share this stuff, because I know even if what I share here lands in the lap of somebody whose life has changed for the better because of it, it was worth everything. Absolutely worth everything. So, with that heavy message, I want to walk away from that, and I want to play with tarot a little bit. And again, called to bring tarot into this, because I want to lend a little insight into this upcoming week. And as I recommend that you please cultivate the 4 pillars in your life and make it easy as possible in the lives of others for them to do the same. we all need a little guidance, and big fan of tarot and the guidance that that provides. So I'm going to shuffle 3 times and just ask the deck to please lend us some insight into what everyone watching this, everyone out there could benefit from. Shuffle 3 times, and I cut the deck. And I pull the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands to me is this person holding this globe, looking out over to the ocean, holding this wand right here. This is interesting how this could go very well into what I was just talking about, and especially the first instance with that young person saying, "Do I think my spirits have abandoned me?" This castle, and this is my own interpretation of the card, and when you work with cards, runes, these types of things, you develop a relationship and they become to mean something specific to that person, right? So this right here is an ancestral home, a castle, if you will. And this person, wands represent fire, will, creativity, right? This person is thinking about the future. They're looking at the world that they want to create for themselves and for other people. And yet this wand right here, and again, this is not an interpretation I've ever read. This is my personal interpretation of this card. Right here, this wand. This is attached on that ancestral home. And that wand is at this person's back. To me, this card represents ancestors. It represents an extension of this ancestral home and the spirits that we have at our back at all times. So, in regards to that first situation, this card is very appropriate because our spirits, our loved ones, our healthy, beloved dead, what they want for us is to make the most of this world while we have it. They want us to know that love, joy, peace, togetherness, right? And this person, I believe they want that, right? They look out over that globe, over the sea. They're looking at the life that they should create for themselves. It's a little bit of planning here, right? But I also want you to think about the world that you want to create for yourself, for your community, for your loved ones, for your kids, for your family. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about the world that you want to create and what you can do with the help of your spirits and your beloved dead to bring those things into fruition. It's been a tough week this past week, with Texas freezing and, still struggling with COVID and all of that. And while life seems to happen to us, there's a certain extent to which we can happen to life, right? Where we co-create the world that we want in the micro, in our own little world, and in the macro, in the larger world around us. For instance, and again, not tooting my own horn here. Prior to me walking this path, I had a marketing company, right? This marketing company made a hell of a lot more money than this stuff did. But I do this to honor my ancestors, right? And to help and heal as much as I can the people around me and in my community being people around the world, my community being right here locally. So in my own way, because I was pushed, stepped into this path, what have you, I hope that in my own way, to whatever degree, I've made the world a better place. If I could accomplish one thing in my brief amount of time here in this world, it would be that, to make the world a better place. To ease the suffering, to ease the pain that people feel, to encourage them to plan and hope for love, joy, peace, togetherness, right? To create it, to co-create it. And I guess that's what this card is, right? I'm creating it, holding up this wand, planning, but I'm also being helped. I'm co-creating. So this is a good card that represents co-creation. Understand your spirits, generally speaking, want you to know love, joy, peace, togetherness. And that's but you should also help your spirits create for you. There's decisions that we can do and make in this world that make our lives better, right? I came out of the closet. I led a life of peace. I met my husband at a farmer's market. He was a vendor, I was a customer. We had a connection, and I made the valiant effort to ask him out. And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't co-created along with my spirits who led me to him, one of the best things that ever happened to me wouldn't have happened. So yes, understand. You're driving down the road in a car. You're driving down the road of life. You got spirits in the passenger seats, co-pilots, right? But you're also steering as well. It's a matter of co-creation. So again, cultivate that love, joy, peace, togetherness this week, all weeks. Help others around you do the same and understand that you are co-creating the life for yourself, your community, and others. And if we all do our best with that, we'll do our damnedest to make this world a better place. So thank you for this. Thank you for this really heavy, long message. I appreciate you, everybody that sticks on this journey with me. I appreciate you beyond measure. I'll never be able to quantify it. So thank you for this. And again, if this touched you, send it to somebody that it may touch. If it affected you in a positive way, let me know. I always appreciate that. So again, have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.